Hello everyone. I hope traders and investors alike were green today. Another awesome day in the market. We had some fantastic intraday moves that paid really well. The market, as you can see here, the third week down in a row. Market's doing exactly what we're expecting, right? It's not pulling back as easy as we would like it, and that's because your dip buyers keep coming in, and that's it. The dip buyers keep coming in every time it pulls back. So that's the reason why the market's struggling down here. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Um, Possibly three red curves being put in. I do like to see the third candle is the strongest. Doesn't have to be, but it just usually leads to higher probabilities of the move. Obviously, this candle has not closed yet. We can reverse tomorrow, the big day today. I would not be surprised if we do see some try to push back up at least at market. We'll talk about that when we get to the SPY chart. Let's get going through some charts here. You can see the breadth did move lower today. We had a big push down there. And our 5, remember, this is the 5 histogram. Your normal histogram on a MACD is a 9. I just set this for a 5 just so I can keep an eye on what, because I do use the histogram a lot in the MACD. We talk about that a lot. So this is just a different look at a little different time frame. It works off the 5 instead of the 9. And this is the equal weight for the SPX. You can see a strong bearish engulfing candle yesterday. Follow through today, kind of exactly what was expected. The dollar is pushing higher here. The dollar pushing higher is putting a little pressure on the markets, but I don't think that's what's pulling the markets back here, like tremendously pulling back. Just seen some stuff on Twitter today where people were making comments the dollar's pushing, so the market's pulling back. I don't think it's so much the dollar. The VIX trying to push higher. You can see give some confirmation from on yesterday's candle, but this candle did. You can see where it opened up and it pulled back at one point today, pulled back and bounced off the daily 9 and give us a nice little hammer candle there on top of the 9. So maybe we can try to see some moves up in the VIX tomorrow. We definitely don't want that, but if the markets are going to go down, it's a good time for the VIX to try to push up a little bit. And you're pushing up off a double bottom here on the VIX. So now this double bottom has been confirmed. If we take that, we'll draw that out. So if we just go with a standard line, just like that, you can easily see double bottom, taking out the peak right there, double bottom, confirmed it, come back down, retested, went for that gap fill there, still got some gap below, but it's been trying to work on it and pushing back up above the breakout area, which this is your actual breakout area is clearing your peak. I'm going to take them lines back off. Just wanted to point that out. So the VIX is trying to break out of a double bottom. So we could see a move up there. The VIX is definitely not the best instrument right now. We all know it's a little broken, but it's still giving us some information. We do need to try to listen to it. Crude pulling back. Got this cup, and we're expecting to put in a handle on it. Remember, your handle was nothing more than a higher low, just gearing up for the next move higher. It's all basic price action. Apple was trading in this little descending triangle-ish thing down here. It's just trying to move lower. Rejection off the 9. That daily 9 is important with that. As long as that daily 9 keeps applying pressure, we're going to move lower. There's bands, and that MACD does look like Apple wants to move lower. And you can see there's some selling pressure there. Apple intraday, you can see the big pull here coming right into after hours. Not sure why it's down so hard here in after hours, but it's definitely pulling back. Haven't had time to watch the news feed, just gearing up for the video after trading, so I have not had time to check the news feed to see why that is pulling back. Gold moving lower. We've been seeing a lot of weakness there. The advanced decline lines are crossed down and moving lower. You can see AMC, we had this big gap down. They've been trying to buy it back up. It's been working on filling that gap back into the BB. See if we can get a move up to that daily 9. AMD, just no pressure there, just no power, just very weak. We can see Amazon, we started to work into this gap. Very good look there today that was pointed out in the Discord. Great job. This is one that we were watching. Actually, just talked about it in the video as well for that gap this morning. ARK breaking lower, big move down. They're just selling that growth stocks, and had this, it's not a double top, it's actually a lower high. So treating it like a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Anytime you have a lower high, you're expecting to put in a lower low. Pivot point 1, pivot point 2, pivot point 3, crossing pivot point 2 is your entry. You can always trade it like that. Several different ways to look at some of these setups. AMD still trading in that box. Want AMD out of that box for a trending trade. AMD weekly, you can draw your trend line right down there. I still have not drawn that trend line yet, but you can draw that right down there and look for resistance on the weekly time frame. Amazon, you can see Amazon moving lower, trying to move lower here in after hours as well. A little bit of green in that candle. You can see this is the 15-minute time frame, and you can see we had a head and shoulders on our higher time frames. Actually, a couple of different members pointed this head and shoulders out on the higher time frames yesterday in the SPY, and you can kind of see it in the SPY. But this is a better version. I mean, look how much smoother that looks, and got a nice move down off from it for 2 days. Amazon weekly coming back into that 200 and that 9. Apple breaking lower on the weekly chart as well. That weekly 9 is trying to roll over. Boeing, watch Boeing here, trying to confirm that double top. We can keep an eye on that, close below the daily 9. So we're looking for Boeing to make a move lower. We have a confirmed double top. All right, so now what are we looking for to trade this confirmed double top? We need a candle to open up tomorrow in either it can be a gap down and a move lower situation, or it can get the market may gap up a little bit and open up, but we want that candle to move below today's close. At the close of that candle, we can look for a move lower. It's so close there, I would let it clear today's range totally, but if we can get that, look for a move down. You do have a gap down there if Boeing wants to go for it. Boeing can be a difficult stock to trade. It's a great short-term trader, but it can be a hard one to hold on to. Just keep that in mind. BTU, just showing some weakness there. And we got Beyond Meat. So this is an interesting chart. Very, very interesting chart. There's a lot going on here. It may not look like it, but we got a nice gap down. So we were trading in this contraction pattern. Let's draw this out. So we were trading in this contraction pattern here. All these candles, let's make that hollow. We can thin that out a little bit. We don't need that so big. Come over and you can see that those candles all traded within that range until yesterday. We got a confirmed close outside of that. Started to see some follow through today. So let's keep an eye on that one. Beyond Meat, it's a smaller stock, but even for a professional trader or a trader, somebody's been trading for a while, there's nothing wrong with trading Beyond Meat, but it's a nice asset for a newer trader to trade, especially with options. Bitcoin stuck in between your 9 and 20. A lot of people don't understand truly how to trade options when it comes to day trading. So be careful. We've just seen some comments in some other groups today talking about how people were basically in fear and thinking that options was the dumbest thing in the world to trade. They're not. They're not. It does require a little more patience and some discipline, but they're very profitable. You can see Bitcoin here moving lower. XLC trying to break lower here as well. Watch your 50 there for support. Remember, I just want to zoom out real quick. Let's take a good look at this whole pattern here. Remember, we had, it's bigger than that. Got to go with 1. Let's update. There we go. Remember, we had this inverted head and shoulders down here, and we're breaking out of that nicely. Just wanted to give a look at the pattern itself, the size of the pattern. This pattern was close to a year-long pattern, like an 11-month pattern. So you would expect a nice move out of that. We've gotten a nice move so far. To do a measured move, you would want to draw a line from, I don't even really want to talk about this because I don't believe in measuring your moves out. But you want to draw a line from the lowest part of your pattern down to your neckline, measure that, and that's your expected move to the upside. So it's gotten a pretty good move there. XLP breaking lower. Consumer staples closing below the 200 today. Danger zone. Below the 200s in the danger zone. Cost holding in well up here. I mean, we've had several different red days, low close days, and still holding those daily moving averages. So it does not want to go down. DraftKings breaking lower after this gap down here as well. Rolled over, lost at 50. Seeing this candle close below that one. So we're looking for a move down on DraftKings. DDOG, I used to trade this name a lot. I haven't traded it in a long time, but I spent a lot of time and took a lot of trades on this stock. It was good to me, really good to me. So coming up, testing this gap. So we have a gap up here. If we can get into the gap, please remember, perfect example, that gap is resistance until we get into it. Gap is support or resistance depending on the direction. But please don't think just because there's a gap on a chart, you're automatically going to fill it. It is support/resistance until it's broken into, and then we expect a reaction on the other side of the gap. So just keep an eye on that gap. That daily 9's coming down. MACD may be trying to change character there. It's worth keeping an eye on. Lily still holding in very well. Let's go back to that chart. Lily holding in very, very well here. That 9's on the way up. Let's go to Ford. Ford, this head and shoulders pattern is working really good. I know some of the members were able to get some trades when we first broke out of it. I don't know if anybody's got any more out of it. Google, trading in that little teeny symmetrical triangle, still holding that pattern very well. Can set alerts on that. Draw that on your chart, set alerts, wait for a breakout. You get your breakout, you can try to take a trade on it, but set your alerts. You don't want to trade it when it's that tight. Home Depot. So after Home Depot's earnings, we are on the weekly time frame. We have got above that resistance level. You can see it tried to push up. Still hanging out with a high close candle on the weekly. Not much power there yet. The weekly 9's on the way up. That's not a bad looking chart. For this market right now. You can see IWM getting hammered here on the way down. The Qs rolling over, holding in well compared to the SPX equal weight that we've seen. So it is holding in well compared to that, but we are below all our major moving averages now, and this does look like it's ready for a move lower. See what we get tomorrow. Qs you can see heading down after hours. Q's trying to roll over here on the weekly chart. That weekly 9's rolling over, as long as that weekly 9 can help drive price down. Watch for a move down to your weekly 20 and see how we act there. We're losing that weekly MACD. JP Morgan just dumping off here. You can see it was trying to hold that trend line, but breaking out of the bands today, trying to move lower. Bands are opening up in both directions there, so we're expecting a move down. Watch your 50 on your daily. Mara, this one broke below the 50, separating itself from the trend line. Here as well, just like JP Morgan, starting to fall from the trend. Keep an eye on this one. It actually got outside of the BBs today. MACD extremely bearish. Merck still watching his head and shoulders pattern. It did find some support down here, trying to hold in. Looks a little descending triangle-ish right now, but watch that trend line. Could easily get a move. Takes that trend line out. This thing may try to go up, or back below that pattern or that support level, we can look for a move down. Just not worried about trading it right now. Meta breaking lower. Did close below your 50 daily today. That MACD is bearish. See where we open up tomorrow. If we open up below that 50, we may have a shot for a move down. Meta bleeding off here as well today, and you can see after hours still bleeding off. MU very weak. You can see a nice strong push come back down. This is a bearish Harami. It filled that gap, looking for a break below this area. Then we're looking for a move down on Micron. Micron looking weak there. Don't forget, we can bounce tomorrow morning. They may gap the market up and then try to move lower, or maybe come in buying a dip, trying to push it higher. So see what we get tomorrow before we get too opinionated on anything here. You can see Microsoft candles getting really tight down here. That's a sign maybe a move's coming. This MACD looks like it wants to pinch and roll over. That 9 on the daily is resistance, so you can watch that level for resistance. Microsoft, I do apologize. Helicopter, marine helicopter coming over right now. Microsoft chopping pretty tough there. You can see there were some good trades to be had. This one would be hard to hold on to. And another one moving lower in after hours. Microsoft below the weekly 20. It's a very tight candle there, but this does want to move lower. You can see your 3. That's actually, if you count this, you have a shooting star. Your shooting star led into 3 red crows there. So see if this, we did confirm below that 20. See if we can get a move lower. For me, I want to break below this wick on this weekly candle. If I get below that wick, I can look for a move down. In the video, we got that channel break. This thing has been on fire all week. Even though it only went up one day, we've had 2 low close days on it. It's had some really good ranges, and it's been moving. It's just basically been moving when the market hasn't been moving. So definitely been on the radar. Trading in between that 9, 20, and 50. Not interested in that till that gets out of those moving averages. Nvidia, you can see this big push here. That was a screaming day, and it's just kind of chopped lower ever since. But still some good trades in there as long as you're not trying to hold on to them. You're taking your profits. Some very good trades to be had in there. Tried to push back up to the weekly 9. Right now we are under that weekly 9. We still got some time left in that candle. The Nasdaq breaking lower, about like the SPX chart we looked at the beginning, breaking lower there. Looks like it wants to go lower. That MACD's just getting started too. MACD looks like it wants to go considerably lower. Netflix looking really weak here. Your bands are pinching in, so this is telling us we possibly have a move coming. Now we need to see them open up and not tube. Keep an eye on your daily Netflix bands if you're interested in trading that. Q's exactly what we're expecting. We're expecting to put in some kind of little handle there on that cup. Rivian, we did get a little bounce here with a high close candle today. This one did reclaim that 50. So see if it may want to work its way back up to that 9. Try to work, maybe get like a bear flag type trade. Just get a push up into that 9. We take a lot of those trades on that. Well, I take a lot of those trades intraday. Roku, low close candle today, trying to break back down. You can see this high, kind of a lower high, lower high. So if we're putting in a lower high, we're expecting to put in a lower low. If we got to take this level out to go short, you can see that wick almost made it down to that area and bounced. And you can see SPX, that's the daily chart that we looked at, or the equal weight chart is actually what we looked at. This is the SPX, and you can see it's breaking below the 50 there as well, a lot like the equal weight chart. SLB testing that 20. That chart did close below that 20. So for this one, we can take this, draw a line through here like this, and maybe, well, that didn't go so well. Try this again and take that arrow off there. Run a line up, something like that right there. And see, maybe that's a third touch point. Maybe be able to try to catch a trade below that. Just looking for a setup there, that's all. If it breaks below that line, maybe to get a move down. SoFi breaking lower. Some really rough intraday action there. Those charts just, I guess if you're just trading to have fun, but you can't trade candles like that. At least not the way that I trade. It's just not worth trading. Diamond breaking lower. The diamond here on the weekly chart, we need this weekly 9 to come up or this candle to come down. See if we can get a bounce off that weekly 9. That is possible. SPY, this is the SPY weekly chart. Remember, this histogram behind these charts is your 5. So your regular histogram down here on your MACD is your 9. This is just a 5 histogram, and you can see it's breaking lower before the 9. It's just something I like to keep an eye on. And you can also see a possible 3 red crows being put in here on the SPY weekly as well. A SPY monthly pulling back, just exactly what we're expecting. We have a ways to go to that 9, so that 9 may be trying to catch up. I hope we don't have to go down there to it. SPY on the daily, we have broke below that daily 50. The daily 9 is on the way down. This MACD is bearish, fresh pinch there. Histogram bars are growing. That chart does look like it wants to go lower. SPY intraday 15-minute chart. A lot of great moves in this action. I know a lot of people look at this chart and probably think that's just ugly and nasty. There was a tremendous amount of awesome moves in this action today. This is great action for the way that I personally trade and the way a lot of my members like to trade. That is great high-paying action. Square breaking lower. Shop, you can see Shop here bear flagging under that 9. So we would like to see this MACD turn down and to break below the candle range here. You can see if you drew a line, this candle would line up with that wick. You need to break below those for a move down. That character is changing there. You see the 9's coming down. We want to see the 20 come down, work together, and see if we can move lower on that. I'd prefer it go up, but it does look like it wants to go lower. Tesla intraday moving down there. XLK. Seeing some weakness, we need to break below this area. Below that area, we can look for a move down. Tesla on the weekly. Tesla is rolling over. Watch this weekly 20. We've come in quite a bit. This is exactly what we were expecting with this stock. See how we handled that weekly 20. This weekly 9 is just getting started rolling over. The daily Tesla has been pulling back since earnings. Uber. We had some news come out today. Uber, Lyft, and Dash, something with New York City. I can't remember the details. Something about ride sharing or something like that. I thought this candle would have a bigger down candle than that. Still holding this area. Below this area, we can look to be bearish. Got to take some moving averages back there to be bullish. Walmart right in between that daily 9 and 20. I'm not interested in trading a stock when it's sitting right in between the daily 9 and 20 like that. You got to have room to move, guys. You got to have room to move. You got to have room to make money. XLF banks breaking lower, trying to hold that 50-day. It did try. Banks were strong at open, so we did get to see some movement there, but they did give it back. So you got a little gravestone sitting there on the 50. Bonds. This is the biggest issue in the market. Look how the bonds are pulling back. I meant to add the chart for the rates or the yields because the yields are screaming right now, and that's not helping the market. That's putting a considerable amount of pressure on the market as well. IWM rolling over here on the weekly. Watch your weekly 20 down there. Your weekly 20 is looks like already started, looking like it wants to roll over, losing their weekly MACD. IWM daily. This one is pulling back as well. So we did confirm below some support. So now that is resistance on the way back up. Remember, anytime you got a box, just keep that center of that pattern on the radar. We could come down, if you draw a line through the center of this pattern, we could come down and bounce off that line and push back up. I've seen it so many times. But if we go through, look for a move down to the bottom. And if we can clear the box, we'll look for a move lower. But we did move into move below support, so not the greatest sign. We can check to see if they've updated. Put the call ratio is not updated yet. These have not updated neither. So unfortunately, we can't talk about the put to call ratio or the oscillators, but we'll talk about it in the morning in the Discord. Please remember that discipline is the key to your success in trading, and I will see you in the trading room.